Please listen carefully.
All right, guys, so Coach Nate and I are here to talk to you about gear. We've gotten a bunch of questions about gear, what gear to use, why you should use it, how you should use it, and so we thought we would talk you through it. So this will probably go up as a podcast and the YouTube video, but because there are visuals here of actual gear, we recommend getting on our YouTube channel, Kanna Fitness on YouTube. So you want to start or you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
Let's start with the bottom. We'll start off with lifters just in general, as well as the CrossFit style shoe, just because whether it's a lifter or a CrossFit style shoe, the bottom of the shoe is flatter. Mm-hmm. So off the bat, that's going to give you a better starting point in terms of lifting.
Yeah, especially compared to a traditional running shoe,
yeah,
where it's very foamy, big chunky heel. Right.
Yeah, and especially because the back of the running shoe is curved a little bit to help you with the running.
Right.
These shoes are kind of flat and all across the board. So when it comes to lifting or jumping, you're able to do everything pretty well. Right. But obviously, it's not going to be the best running shoe because it's not designed to be running. But you're still going to be able to run with it. Yep. Unless it's a lifter, then you probably shouldn't run with that. But lifters specifically, I think these are great once you've been in the gym a little bit, mm-hmm. because you want to make sure that you're getting that form down first. And then once you come to a conclusion that, okay, maybe it's limited ankle mobility and you need that little elevation, mm-hmm. that the heel gives you, you can see, you can see like right here, it's going to lift your heel off the ground a little bit, creating that space, giving you a little bit more flexion in your ankle, mm-hmm. so that you can get a little bit lower in the squat. Whether it's squatting, cleaning, snatching, yep. It's a great option. But again, for me, you need to have that form down first.
For sure.
Otherwise, that's just going to exaggerate poor form and just encourage bad habits.
Yeah, lifters allow for a deeper squat because it lifts the heel off the ground while still maintaining contact with the shoe, yep. with a hard surface. But it also shouldn't excuse people from working on their mobility.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a bit of a crutch. But if you're going for a 1 rep clean, 1 rep squat, maybe that's an opportunity to wear that. But if it's a Metcon where you're running and you're doing, lighter squat cleans or, lighter front squats, you may actually want to stick with a normal shoe.
Yeah.
Because you don't need the maximal, every advantage possible.
Yeah, and that's, for me, that's always been the great debate. If it's a heavy barbell in a Metcon style, like a heavy clean and then double unders. Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I know double unders I can get away with using lifters, so I might go with my lifters and swap those shoes out.
Yep.
But more often than not, especially with a lighter barbell, I shouldn't need or feel that need, like you said, right. I shouldn't use it as a crutch to just put them on and feel like I'm actually doing better when it's yep. providing no benefit at that point.
Yep. Now, for the combo workouts, let's take that example of let's say running or double unders, yeah. and then let's say they're actually heavy squat cleans. They do sell these inserts that you can buy, so it does a similar effect where it raises your heel up a little bit, and then it's a hard plastic material, so you get all that energy transfer through the ground. Again, that's why the lifters are made of these hard plastics. They used to be made of wood, so they don't compress, but nowadays it's usually this hard plastic. So this you can insert into your sneaker, into your shoe, and then kind of a standard CrossFit style shoe where it is flat, where it is a harder rubber, but then this will elevate your heel. So it can be theoretically best of both worlds, but it really depends on what the workout is and what your goal is, what your intent is.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it comes down to, I have a 3-month rule for anything I try. Like I'm not going to buy anything unless I absolutely need to. Until 3 months in, all right, I'm going to stick with it. All right, my first purchase was shoes.
Got it.
To make it better for me, because like I said, going back to starting with running shoes or a flatter shoe, that flatter shoe is just going to make the world of a difference.
Yeah, I would say for most of our people coming in here, they should think about going from a traditional running shoe to I'll just take my shoe off, but a flatter shoe where there's not as much a heel drop, and then this heel back here is not as foamy and chunky as a traditional running shoe. So I would Nike Metcons, Reebok Nanos. Personally, I like these Strike Movement shoes because they don't look like a workout shoe per se.
Noble as well.
Noble is another good example of more of like a lifestyle / workout shoe.
Yep.
I would say that transition from a running shoe to one of these type shoes is the first thing to think about. And then if people are super serious about lifting, or not even super serious, but they're looking to eke out every pound or every percentage on a heavy squat, then use these.
Yeah. And I don't think people even need to go out right away to buy new shoes if they have like, I'm thinking Vans, Etnies, Chucks, like the skateboarding shoes.
Yep.
Because they're already pretty flat and pretty grippy to begin with. So you can get away with those before spending the money on.
Yeah, and before all these brands came out with these shoes, people were lifting in Vans and Converse and so you can go old school like that.
Oh yeah.
The one caveat I want to make about the lifting shoes is that just because you're lifting heavy doesn't mean you should always wear those shoes. So where we see a big mistake happening is people wearing these shoes for deadlifts. And the reason you don't want to do that is because your heel is being raised up, you're being tilted more forward, and you don't want to tilt forward on a deadlift, you actually want to pull back. So these are really just for heavy squats, front squat, back squat, overhead squat, even arguably not overhead squat because relative it's not as heavy a weight. Heavy squat cleans, that's what these shoes are for, not just all heavy lifting. Definitely don't need them for any sort of pressing overhead. And for deadlifts, that shoe will tilt you forward. So it actually does exactly the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, that's a great point. I have seen that pretty frequently.
Yeah, and it's, if you call them lifting shoes, people think you should wear them for any sort of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So I get it, but we see that enough that, we want to just put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah. Moving on up, we have knee sleeves. Right over there.
Yep, take them out.
Those actually look pretty nice. The hardest part about knee sleeves, in my opinion, is just
how they look.
Cleaning them.
Cleaning them, yeah. Got it.
But knee sleeves are great to just help stabilize the knees. If you have knee issues, that's a great support system. Vanna White's going to put them on. Oh, those are perfect. They help. They compress the knee to. You're demoing that very well. They compress the knee to help increase the blood flow throughout the leg and help keep the knee nice and stable throughout your lifts. Side note, they also make a great shin protector for rope climbs.
Yes.
So that's worth its weight in gold.
Yep. Yeah, knee sleeve, it's not as stable as what you might find
like a brace.
Yeah, like a brace. It's not a brace because it is neoprene. So what it can do is give you a little bit more proprioception, so like the feeling around the knee to give you more awareness of how you're tracking through a squat. It can definitely keep your knee warmer. So if you are typically someone who has poor circulation through that area, just having another layer around that can help. Mm-hmm. And then when you do go down for that squat, the extra neoprene hitting against itself can help actually bounce you up out of that squat even more. Mm-hmm. So some people will wear it. I think similar though to like the shoes, you don't need knee sleeves for every single lift or every single movement.
No.
It can, for most people, you should probably reserve it for like your high end, 1 rep or maximal lifts.
Yeah, and you definitely don't need it for pressing.
Yeah, no, definitely not pressing.
I have seen that before.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, so those are knee sleeves. These we sell behind the desk through the United Metal Wall, and these actually do come in pairs.
I feel like I always see them being sold elsewhere for like individually.
Singles.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice they come in pairs.
Yep. They can be pricey. These are actually reasonable. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much these are, but yeah, Reband is the more traditional ones where they sell only a single, and only a single could be like $45.
Yeah.
So for $90, you're thinking, all right, is this actually worth it? For most people, you don't need it. For some people, it makes you even mentally stronger, like kind of a placebo effect.
Yeah, it gives you more confidence that you're going to be able to stand up out of a lift, out of a squat.
Right. So not for everyone, but for people who, are conscious of how their knees are tracking and everything, it might be a good option.
Yeah, and I will always, I don't have a pair, but I've been strongly considering it strictly for the rope climb aspect.
For the shin protection.
The shin protection.
The
I can use every help I can get, every bit of help.
All right, I'll talk about belt.
Yep, go right
cool.
ahead.
So for belts, a lot of people see others wearing belts for things like deadlifts or squats or things of that nature. What you're noticing is that for a lot of this gear, it is for your high-end maximal lifts. And I would say the same for the belt. So what happens is you end up wrapping the belt around, not where you normally wear a normal belt, down that low. You actually wrap it around your midline. And the idea here is when you go for a max lift, you're going to take a belly breath in, right? We don't want to breathe into our lungs. We want to breathe into our belly. And what that's going to do is create what's called intra-abdominal pressure, IAP. Mm-hmm. And that IAP is what helps stabilize your body as you're going through a lift. So that could be for a deadlift, that could be for a squat, even presses, theoretically. Basically, what you want to do is create a strong core. And so your spine is running through your back. You don't have a bony structure in the front. And so what you do is you breathe into your belly, you brace. That's why we often say breathe and brace. When you brace, that's going to create a strong structure for you to do a lift. And so when you are going through that lift, it's a lot like a soda or beer can, right?
Yeah.
So if you take an empty can, it's easy to crush, right? If you take a big breath in and hold it, you're going to create the equivalent of like a full can that's sealed. And so you can stand on one of those sealed cans, right? Because it's strong. The idea of a belt is that it just amplifies that pressure even more. So you don't want to, when you wrap a belt around you, you don't want to squeeze it so tight that you're like sucking in and trying to like corset yourself. That's not the goal. Because then you can't get any pressure in there. You can't breathe into your belly. So you want it just loose enough to be able to breathe into your belly. But once you breathe into your belly, have it super tight and you feel your belly pressing against the belt. Mm-hmm. So all that's going to do is create more pressure and allow for you to basically lift more or theoretically lift more.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen a lot of people use this as a crutch as well when it comes to volume squatting or even at a lightweight squat.
Right, not necessary at lighter or even moderate weights.
Yeah,
right.
It's just a force of habit that some people have because going back to the placebo effect, that could be it, where it just gives them that self-confidence to squat a little bit more.
For sure.
Which doesn't do much harm, but it can also actually weaken the midline. And
yeah, because if you're not needing to breathe or feel like you need to breathe into your belly or like tighten your midline, it defeats the purpose of having a strong core like within yourself.
Yeah, so it kind of has an adverse effect.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah. The other thing is for lifting, Olympic lifting specifically, for things like snatches where you have a wider grip and that bar is going to make contact with your hip, or it should make contact with your hip, that may actually contact the belt and get caught on the belt. So we generally don't want to wear belts when snatching, even for 1 rep snatches. But for cleans, they should be fine. And again, when you think about the weight that someone can squat snatch versus a squat clean, the snatch is going to be lighter in general. And so you don't need a belt because it's by nature a lighter weight when you're pulling from the ground.
Yeah.
So in addition to the contact.
Yeah.
So
it's a great tool to have, but
yeah. But again, similar to the knee sleeves and definitely the shoes.
Only on the higher end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have here on the table? We have those wrist wraps, or not wrist wraps. We have gymnastics grips.
Yep.
I actually just had a conversation this morning with a member about these. I've never actually used these myself, but the member had said that he tried them once because his hands were bothering him. And the first question that I asked him was, is he taking care of his hands? Mm-hmm. So to me, that's always the first go-to. Whenever somebody says that their hands are bothering them, what are they doing to take care of the hands? Because you need to make sure that you're shaving down your calluses, make sure you actually are lotioning up your hands I do it once a day because that's how rough my hands are, and if I don't, I will feel it on the bar and on the rig. But if you're doing all that and you're like me and have really sweaty palms, I think these are a great option to help you stay on the bar, just because you don't have that skin to bar contact.
Sure.
And it gives you a little bit extra grip on the bar.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry, for me, don't have to worry about slipping off.
Yep. And Coach Lamb, I think, even wrote up a blog post about it, and we can link that up. But taking care of your hands, I think, as a preventative measure is a good way to go about it. And then these can theoretically help prevent some rips. Some people don't like them though, because it does create an extra layer, so they don't feel the bar as much. Some people like to feel the bar.
Yeah.
Whereas others feel like they rip so much that this is needed. The one thing I'll say about these grips, people oftentimes ask where the finger holes should go, whether they should go on these three or these three. These guys, Victory grips, generally say they should go on the end, the pinky, the ring, and then the middle. Some people prefer the feel of this, which is fine. Neither is wrong. But you definitely want a size where you have this extra material on the palm, because when you go grab that bar, that extra material is going to have a dowel effect on the bar and give an extra grip. So if you ever see gymnasts on the bars, they're going to have an actual dowel in their grips. And what that does is allows for a tighter grip on that bar, much like a hook grip will, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And so you want extra material there. You don't want this to be so far down that you're only,
completely flat and flush to the skin.
Exactly. You don't want it flat.
No. Yeah. And I mean, I'm in the boat of I don't like having anything between my hand and the bar.
Yep.
But I also know that I'm missing out on either a lot of strength, using a lot of strength, because I just can't hold on to the bar. Like if I had used this for today's workout where we had toes to bar,
right.
I'm a person that gets so sweaty that as soon as I start doing anything, I will sweat profusely. So I feel it all across right along the palm of my hand, and this would have prevented that.
Yep.
For me from falling off of the rig,
yep.
and not being able to hold on to the rig.
Yep.
So it's a huge benefit to have.
Yeah, and we don't have it on the table, but let's talk about chalk, because you're talking about like sweaty palms and stuff.
Yeah. When it comes to chalking, especially in the summer, caking your hands in chalk is not going to help.
It's just going to soak right there.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of bringing a towel with me to dry off my hands if I need to chalk up.
Yeah.
But if your hands are just drenched in sweat,
right.
then it's going to soak through, and
it does very little.
Yeah. It'll be gone by the time you step up to the bar or the rig.
So you're saying you would rather bring a towel, dry your hands off first, and then if you're going to use chalk up, because otherwise that initial like digging your hands in the bag, chalking up, will just literally soak up the sweat and not actually give you any grip.
Yeah, it's not going to help you at all. Yeah. And then I also see a lot of over chalking just in general in a regular sense. Outside of
Chalk
summer.
monsters.
Yeah, because you don't need to cake your hands in chalk. You just need a little bit along. I draw a smiley face actually when I have a
Do you really?
Yeah. What I do is I draw a line around the outside of my palm, and then I usually do each finger, but then in the middle of my palm I'll just do like 2 eyes. So that way it's like a smiley face, 2 eyes, and then this is the hair. And that is plenty of chalk.
Yeah.
You don't need to become Casper
Right.
coming out of the chalk bag.
Yep. Or people who like take the block of chalk out of the bag and they like coat their bar so the bar is now all white.
Yes.
I get coating the bar instead of your hands because you'll go grab the bar anyway, and it also gives you a marker to figure out where to grab the bar quickly if you need to. But you don't need that much.
No.
You don't. Some people like really load up.
Yeah. And I mean, we're recording this in the summer, and you always feel like you need more than you actually do. But that also goes back to, are you putting your hands in when you're drenched in sweat? Because that's just not going to help.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of the towel.
Yeah, it's saved me. I mean, I also use the towel for my car as well. I drape it over my seat so that I don't sweat into my seats.
Into your seats.
Yeah, don't want that smell hanging out for too long.
Yeah, so these grips and these knee sleeves we do sell on the United Metal wall behind the desk. So if you guys are members here, you can check those out and check yourself out through the iPad there. And then the last thing, something that we also have on that wall is thumb tape. So thumb tape is used when lifting with a hook grip. So when you have that bar, we generally like to have our thumb wrapped around and then finger wrapped on top over that for a better grip. But the pressure on the thumb into the knurling of the bar can hurt. It can be, uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So this tape is flexible tape. It's not like regular athletic tape because it's actually very stretchy. So when you peel it off, it might be a little hard to see, but it's not stiff at all. It's very flexible. And so what you do is you just take off a little bit. It's stretchy in all ways. So, and it's also sticky. So you wrap it around. I like to go at least twice over. And then you can bend your thumb. And so it allows for you to use a hook grip, but you don't feel the knurling on that bar. So this is actually one of my favorite pieces of gear because for lighter lifts where you're repping out hang power cleans, hang power snatches, which we had on Monday, this helps a lot in terms of maintaining a nice grip, but not feeling that discomfort as much.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wish I knew about like a year into lifting because I would always get blisters right in the crease
some people
there.
get them deeper into the thumb.
Yeah, I that's where mine would appear.
Right.
But that was after I had done my level 1 cert and had people actually training me how to do the Olympic lifts. I found out I was gripping way too tightly because of that. So that's something I wish I knew about earlier.
Yeah, and this, you can get online, but again, we have it here as well. So, and it's also, out of all these options, the cheapest.
Yeah. The gateway piece of equipment.
Yep.
The easiest one. Yeah.
Cool. So that's what we got for you in terms of gear. Obviously, there's plenty of other different types of gear out there, but these are probably the biggest ones, the main ones.
The ones that we see used most often and maybe used not incorrectly, but more than they need to be.
Yeah, so I think the overall message for a lot of this gear is that, number one, know its purpose, know why you're using it, be intentional about it. We see, not so much here, but I've seen people gear up with like all of this stuff for a workout that has like, running and double unders and no barbell at all. Or, and it's like, well, why are you wearing this stuff? And it's like, well, I just want to look like I'm working out, right? So you don't need that. A lot of stuff you don't need all of the time, and actually you rarely need it for every single workout. So know its purpose, and then for a lot of this stuff, it's also related to, the higher max lifts.
Oh yeah.
So that your 1 rep squat cleans, your 1 rep deadlifts for the belt, right? And even then, there's an argument to be made that you don't need any of this, and that your body should be, doing the work for it too.
Yeah.
Getting a stronger core, getting a stronger back, working on your mobility. Those are all things that should actually come first, or they should be concurrent with using the gear. You should be working on your mobility, and also if you want to go for, lifting shoes that are not that cheap, that's okay, right? But still be working on mobility.
Yeah. Agreed.
Cool.
Agreed. Yeah, let us know if there's anything else that we didn't cover, but you do want us to cover. We can certainly scour the wonderful world of the web and find whatever piece of equipment you want us to take a look at. And whatever other questions that you guys have about fitness in general, feel free to let us know.
Yep.
We will be happy to answer for you guys.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Please listen carefully.